Well, the series against the Yankees is over, and not a single game was even remotely close. Let's talk about it all today on Locked On Tigers.
You are Locked On Tigers, your daily Detroit Tigers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Tigers. I'm, of course, your host, Scott Bentley. Today is Friday, September 12th, 2025. Thank you so much for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is here. Visit the FanDuel app today to start planning your futures bets now. The Detroit Tigers lose the series finale to the New York Yankees in New York by a score of 9-3. The Tigers' record falls to 84-63 on the season, while the Yankees improve to 81-65. Yankees now guaranteed to have a 500 or better record after this win. So yeah, like first thought is really like, okay, like this was a big series win, a sweep over the Yankees in the Bronx without Scooble pitching any of the games, like was always going to be extremely difficult and was super not the expectation going into this road trip. Okay. Like you walk out of there with a series win and two dominant victories at that. And if you even had to pinpoint like one of the games specifically that would have been harder than the other ones, it was probably going to be the bullpen game with Sawyer Gipson-Long throwing the bulk. So like it's obviously a crooked number. It's a lopsided score, but like all is good, man. I am losing zero sleep over this baseball game. Yeah, 9-3 final. It is what it is. You're walking out of there with a series victory, and you're going to go to Miami this weekend and hopefully take 2 of 3 from them as well. So what went wrong? Just because I am not upset at the fact that they lost the game and really don't care at all that they ended up losing, doesn't mean that there's not still plenty of stuff to analyze and that we can kind of put in our memory bank for the playoff push, and then obviously the postseason as well. So pitching is obviously the big talking point with this team at the present moment. Tyler Holton opened this one inning, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, no walks, 2 strikeouts, and obviously the home run to Aaron Judge against. His ERA is now 4 on the season. I'll even back off even more. I don't even care about the home run to Judge, dude. That is lefty Holton clearly has not been as good this season as he was the last 2 years. I care about everything else. Okay, Judge is Judge, man. Like he's legitimately having one of the best hitting seasons since like Barry Bonds. Okay, he's unbelievable. He homered off of Sawyer Gipson-Long too. Like it is what it is at that point. I'm not going to hold it against a pitcher that they gave up a home run to 2025 Aaron Judge. Now, Bellinger, a lefty, struggled against him. Slater, not a lefty, but just really not a great hitter. Like that is still a part of the lineup, and there are still players in there that I would like him to be able to navigate. I think Hinch's mindset was, okay, Judge is going to hit no matter who we put on the mound, so let's make sure we get Bellinger out. And that's great on paper. What you don't account for is an Aaron Judge moonshot, and that is certainly what happened. So, like, again, we talked about it yesterday. I just need him to be great against lefties. That's all I'm really asking for him down the stretch in the postseason. This outing certainly did not inspire a lot of confidence in you, in like him being the highest leverage. He is literally the best left-handed reliever this bullpen has. which is a scary thought given how he's pitched for a handful of the year, for I don't want to say a majority of the year. He's had his nice moments as well, but this is certainly a step back of a season. So we'll see how the rest of the year plays out. The thing is, like, we're at this weird point with analysis where it's like, I can talk about what I expect from Holton over 162. We don't have 162. We got like 20 games left down the stretch, and then postseason baseball, literally anything can happen. Any of these guys on the entire roster can catch fire and be the best player on the team for 2 weeks. And that's all it takes. We see the team with the best record in baseball lose in the first round or in the ALCS all the time, or NLCS. National League teams can have the best record in baseball too. But we see teams with better records lose in the divisional and what am I having a memory? Championship series. Goodness. Just completely forgot English there for a second. You get my point though. So it's weird to, like, I don't know. Like, yeah, Tyler Holton's looked how he's looked all year, but who's to say that he can't just catch fire and be great for 2 weeks? We'll see. Sawyer Gipson-Long, probably a little bit of a different story there. 2 1/3, 7 hits, 7 earned runs, no walks, 3 strikeouts, has a 7.18 ERA now on the season. It's been an unfortunate return to the major leagues after missing him all of last season. I maintain and I stand by that the stuff is fine here. I still have no issue with the stuff that he is offering. It's a lively fastball. It's still a really good changeup with a lot of movement on it. The command has just been, there is truly no other way to word it than awful. It has been really rough since he came back from what injury like upper back or neck injury. He had something strange like that. And at this point, I'm not even 100% sure that he is going to even like finish the season on the major league roster. But then when we start talking about playoff rosters, if he's going to be a part of that, they might go with someone who's a little bit more, they're getting plenty of innings from a lot of other guys. You only got to last, 5 games at most. They might go for somebody that's more of a shorter inning guy, or like hope Brant Herter's healthy and maybe he can take a Sawyer Gipson-Long spot. There's a lot of stuff. We'll have that conversation when we get to it. My point is, it's just been unfortunate because he does have the stuff, and I still believe that he can be a contributor at the major league level long term. This season has just been brutal. Hopefully, I think what I'm kind of banking on here is a healthy offseason. I know that sounds weird because like the offseason is when people that have injuries usually like recover and you can come back, but it also makes a huge difference when you're healthy going into an offseason, because then your training the entire winter is not interrupted. There's no hiccups in it. You just go straight through. And so I'm hoping that can help him maybe going into 2026. Okay. Let's talk about the offense, shall we? We'll do that right after this. First, though, going to talk to you all about our friends over at Nutrafol. You've probably seen a million ads for hair growth products and thought, sure, like that actually works. There's so many products out there. It's hard to know which ones are actually going to do anything. That's why you should give Nutrafol a closer look. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplements brand, trusted by over 1.5 million people. It's not just hype either. This is a supplement clinically tested that targets the root causes of thinning and shedding with a proactive approach. There's so many great features. You can see thicker and stronger hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering Locked On MLB listeners $10 off your first month's subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter promo code Locked On MLB. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code Locked On MLB. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Segment 2, Locked On Tigers. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. As always, making us your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. And we will, of course, be back on Monday recapping this series on the road in Miami against the Marlins. First, though, we will preview that series at the end of today's show, but we will finish talking about this loss to the New York Yankees, 9-3 loss at Yankee Stadium. We've talked about the pitching. Another reason why I'm really not too upset at this game specifically is because I actually didn't think the offense was terrible. I know that they only scored 1 run through 6 innings. And then even like the run in the 7, Dylan Dingler homer, that's always great to see. But like, you start getting that far out of reach. It's like, okay, what's a garbage time run and what's not kind of thing. But I really did think that throughout the entirety of the game, that the at-bats remained competitive. Only 1 run in those first 6 innings, but the team had 7 base runners in 5 innings pitched against Schlittler. And like he looked sharp. I thought he looked really good. And the offense continued to work counts. They had a lot of 3-ball counts. They prevented him from going, super deep into the ball game. You are going to lose games over 162 games. Okay. You are, obviously. And you're going to have low run totals, even if you're smacking the ball, right? We see it all the time. A team will just hit the ball really hard all game and not put up any runs. Really good at bats, not put up any runs. If the at-bats stay consistent, that's really all you can ask for over the ebbs and flows of a season, right? You got to trust the process a little bit more than the results sometimes. So to me, like watching a game like this where I thought the at-bats actually were pretty good, and I'm not saying they were perfect, right? Spencer Torkelson popped up like a meatball down the middle that made me scream. Like there were certainly still flaws, but as a team, it kind of reassures you that water is going to find its level. And I really had no issue with the at-bats tonight, even if the results, you look at the box score, maybe don't look awesome. 8 hits and 4 walks. 8 hits, 4 walks. So, you're talking 12 base runners. They went 1 for 7 with RISP, which is frustrating, but they've been really good with RISP over the last 2 or 3 games. It's going to happen. And if you have good at-bats consistently, then you can make sure that it doesn't happen over and over and over again, and it's just a one-off thing. So hopefully that is the case here. We can address Riley Greene's strikeout totals. I believe after this game, Riley Greene officially has the most strikeouts in a single season by any Detroit Tiger in the history of the Detroit Tigers organization. So there you go. Look, there's so much nuance with that conversation. Like there is so much of that conversation that is like he's also the best hitter on the team. He's also has, had 100 RBIs before September 1st. Like Aaron Judge just got his 100th RBI in this ballgame, right? Now, obviously, Aaron Judge is, 8 times the hitter of pretty much anyone else in baseball. That's not, I'm not comparing the two 1 for 1. I'm just saying you both can be true. I actually think maybe he just tied it in this game. Either way, I saw like 15 different people tweet about it and post about it online. I don't, it's not something that I think about or care about. We will address Riley Greene's season in our season review after the Tigers stop playing ball games, whenever that is. It was a really weird year. The strikeout numbers are obviously way too high, and that is something that he needs to cut down. There was a handful of good. There was also a handful of bad. There was even a handful of bad that, aside from just the strikeouts at points this year, we will address all of it. But I don't know. I'm not strikeout counting in September when we are making a run for, best record in the American League. It is what it is. But something that is certainly, I guess, worth pointing out if you host a show about the Detroit Tigers. So here we are. I think he ties him with 182 in this ball game. So he'll certainly strike out at some point again, the rest of the season. hopefully he can cut those down in future years. Anything else for what went wrong? Tommy Kahnle looked brutal. That's a frustrating one too, because you kind of thought he was turning a corner. He still might be. Like, I don't love how I have gotten I think accustomed to, or I've gotten in the habit of rather, kind of over analyzing a season based on the most recent game. And like, this is a daily show, so I'm going to get caught into that sometimes, but I do want to get better at, not just doing that every single game for every single player. I think with Kahnle, you're seeing a trend in the right direction. This was just an outing. Like, the changeup looks better than it did in July. In the same breath, his command in this ball game was terrible. He could not throw a strike for the life of him. So we'll see if adjustments can be made. That is a huge piece that the Tigers could have to their playoff bullpen that they have missed greatly over the last 3 months since, he had a sub-2 ERA. So we'll keep an eye on that and see how he does the rest of the year. What went right? Not a super long list, but not nothing either. There's a handful of positives to take out of this game as well. Parker Meadows had a really, really, really great at bat in the 5th inning. Full count, gets a high fastball in a full count and just laces it to the pull side. Was perfectly on time with it. Probably could have stretched it into a double if you really wanted to, but playing it safe for a single there, I can appreciate as well, especially with how aggressive this team runs the bases. Ball hit anywhere, he's going to be on third base anyway. I continue to be impressed with Parker Meadows since his return to the lineup here. The star of the show, for the Tigers at least, was Dylan Dingler yet again. Amazing at bat. I know the home run was great, and he's hitting over 280 on the season, which is just so awesome. He's got an OPS around like 770 now. Like, he is just the man. He's doing that offensive production from the catcher position while also being incredible defensively behind the plate. I absolutely adore him. My favorite moment of the game, though, was actually the 11 pitch, I think it was, RBI single that he had earlier in the game. In that moment, it's still a close game, right? The ball game is still, what was it, 1-1 or 1-2? Like, it was still a very close ball game at that point. And for him to battle against a pitcher that was locked in and throwing well, also a pitcher that has an elite fastball and got around 10 swings and misses on his fastball in this ball game. Toward the end, he was just like, forget this. I'm just going to pump, 99, 100 mile an hour heaters until this dude swings and misses. Dingler fouled off all of them and then deposited one into right field for the RBI single. That's one of his best at bats of the season, and I think it's a testament to how good he has been this year. Anything else that went right? I guess, like, Bailey Horn, didn't give up any runs. He looked fine. Like, he didn't look any different than he usually does to me. So, like, good results. Hannafy, same thing. Didn't look any better or worse than he usually does. We'll take the results. I actually thought Cater Montero looked good. I thought he looked really good. It's interesting because I think his stuff gets, and this is, Captain Obvious. This happens with most pitchers. I think his stuff looks just significantly better out of the bullpen. Like, his curveball in this game was so sharp. And I don't think it's had that much bite to it ever as a starter or a multi-inning, long reliever. So just giving him kind of the short outing of, you're going to get the last out or two here in the 8th or the 7th and then the 8th. I thought he looked pretty good. So, I mean, if we can get his stuff looking like that, then I will gladly take him as a 2 or 3 inning reliever come, postseason time. So I thought that was noteworthy. Yeah, I mean, like, again, in general, I thought, we'll talk about what went right. I thought Schlittler was fantastic. That fastball really is something special. There is so much spin on that. And I think that he's going to be a problem. I don't know how he wasn't ranked, highly in the Yankees farm system. It's mind-boggling to me with stuff like that and a fastball like that in today's modern age of baseball. But shout out to him for being a huge difference maker and an X factor for a Yankees team that has battled through injuries and whatnot throughout the season and has been kind of a constant in their rotation. So, yeah. Okay, let's talk stuff. We'll do that right after this. Got to talk to you all a little bit about our friends over at FanDuel. The NFL season is here. FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because it fits however I like to bet. Player props, building a same game parlay, or even jumping in live as the action unfolds. It's quick, it's easy, and the best way to add a little more energy to your Sundays. So, are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by using FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Third and final segment of Locked On Tigers. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. As always, stuff. The president at this ball game. So I think I said yesterday that it was the first time the president had been at a Tigers game in 30 or 40 years. They actually gave the exact date. It's been over 50 years, 55 years. They said it was 1970. It was Nixon in 1970 was the last time a president of the United States was at a Tiger game. So noteworthy note, I guess, there. Series recap, anything else? I mean, this game, he was at the game to honor the victims of September 11th, 2001. They honored the first responders and the victims. The Yankees wore the famous, NYPD hats that them and the Mets wore in 2001 after that happened. And next season, on September 11th, the Yankees and Mets will play each other, as it has been 25 years since. Next year will be 25 years, obviously, and so they will play each other to honor them then. Just such an impactful moment every year that there is baseball played in New York on September 11th. And I know everybody says like the, never forget and don't forget stuff all the time, but it really is, true. And that is something that I think is so important to continue to honor, again, the victims and the first responders from that day and from that moment in our country's history. So, yeah, it is just seeing the Tigers being a part of, a national moment like that, seeing, all eyes are on Yankee Stadium and in, that moment because of all the lives that were lost and because of that moment in 2001. And so seeing the Tigers be a part of a national moment like that is, I'm not really sure what the correct emotion is, but it triggers something within you for sure to see your team kind of in there. So, okay. Anything else? I mean, like I said, overall, like I think it was a successful series despite the blowout loss on Thursday. You were able to not only get a series win, but you got a series win with two dominant victories. You also, this might even be more important than the wins, to be honest. You gave everybody a glimmer of hope that there is starting pitchers not named Tarek Skubal on this team that might be able to step up in a playoff game. Like that, 4 days ago, I wasn't so sure. So to have just some sort of reassurance, I'm not there yet. I'm not just like, oh, I'm fully bought in now. I got to see some consistency. We got to see a couple of really good outings from, Mize and Flaherty in a row before I do that. But it's a start, and there's 3 weeks left. So you have time to figure that out. Injury update, Zach McKinstry seems fine. He didn't play in this game, but he said that his back was totally fine today, so hopefully that's true. And then Parker Meadows was pulled from this game, and everybody freaked out and was like, oh my goodness, he's hurt again. He's not hurt. He was just taken out because it's a blowout, and the Tigers didn't want to risk him getting hurt in what ended up being 6-run ball game, and at the time was an 8-run ball game. So big sigh of relief. Parker Meadows totally okay. He'll be back in the lineup tomorrow. We have a magic number. That's cool. I think it's still at 8 after Thursday. I know it was at 8 exactly going into the game. Here's my thing, okay? I know it's like cool to have the magic number and to count down and to know exactly when you clinch a playoff berth. That is not the bar, though. I want to make that abundantly clear. That is not the bar for this team. This team is within half a game of the best record in the American League, guaranteeing a first round bye, lower seed matchups, etc. You want the first round bye. That is what we're looking for. We're not just looking to make the playoffs and win 8 total games the rest of the season. The expectation and the goal, where everybody in that clubhouse's eyes should be at, is finding a way to not have to play in the wild card round. You do not want your entire season to come down to potentially 2 baseball games. Take care of business, stay hot, stay winning, and go ensure that you're going to play in the divisional series. Guarantee it. Okay, so I don't really care about the magic number. I really don't. Everyone's talking about it, so I'm bringing it up here. I don't care. I'm looking at what the Blue Jays and the Yankees and the Astros, right? Like the other best records in the American League are doing. I'm not looking at what the Royals are doing on a daily basis. We're up like a ridiculous amount of games on them. It would be an epic collapse of like historic proportions if that didn't work out. Your goal should be to get the bye. Okay. Marlins this weekend. Pitching matchups. You have Skubal versus Alcantara on Friday. Morton against Jason Junk. Great name for a pitcher. Jansen. Did I say Jason? Jansen Junk on Saturday. And then TBD against Adam Mazur on Sunday. None of these guys have had particularly great seasons that the Marlins are throwing out there. The Marlins have had a fun year. Not a good year, but a fun year. They're going to finish, 9-10 games out of the playoffs. Probably finish with a sub 500 record, but they could be like a 77, 79 win team. And they have had a much better last 3 months than first 2 or 3 months. It's a young team, a really young team, but it is also really exciting. Like the Fish are a fun watch. I love watching Marlins baseball this year. The Tigers thankfully missed some of like the big power arms, some of that due to injury, some of that due to schedule. I guess you get like Alcantara, who, has won a Cy Young and was a premier pitcher in the sport for a while, but he has an ERA over 5 this year. It's better than it was. It was like over 7 for the first couple of months, but like it's still, not great. So this is not a gimme is all I'm trying to say. Like it's a series you should still win. Okay, I'm not trying to make excuses. Go win this series. It is a disappointment if you do not win this series, especially with Skubal going in game 1. But it's not going to be a cakewalk either. So go take care of business, baby. Thanks for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. And we will, of course, be back on Monday recapping said series. Peace and love. Going to therapy's dope. And I will catch y'all on Monday. Go Tigers, baby.